My name is Doug Guthrie. I'm the Dean of the School of Business at the George Washington University. The biggest thing that the United States needs to do in changing our future in sustainability and renewable energy is actually not investment in technology. We do very well with technology, and in fact a lot of the technology that walks out the door to places like China comes from us. The real thing that needs to happen is quite simple. There needs to be much deeper investment from the federal government, and there needs to be coordinated cross-industry coordination, strategizing, and subsidization that will really drive the industry forward. Let's take an example of what's gone on with the current economic crisis and the comparison between this economic crisis and the Great Depression. When the Great Depression happened, it was a very deregulated system, and ultimately we paid a very heavy price for that deregulation. When regulation came back in with a lot of financial controls, the growth of the SEC and a number of other institutions, we got much stronger control over the investment environment, but there was one thing that was crucial to helping the United States dig out of that process, and that was the stimulation of the economy through the Work Project Administration. That was a huge investment that put people to work, took government dollars and put people to work through building things like roads. If we look now at this current economic crisis, what's happened? We spent $800 billion on a stimulus package that was actually not a stimulus package, but it was TARP money. The bank sat on a lot of that money, and very little flowed into organizations that are actually a part of building the renewable energy future. So when people like President Obama say we do big things, he is talking about an idea that the private sector should be invested in building this new sector. But the problem is that new sectors and new industries do not get built from investment in private sector alone, and they don't get built through tax credits. What happens if you look at any of the industries, I mean, if we want to talk about this as our Sputnik moment, NASA was built through billions of dollars investment through federal funding. The same with the internet. If you look at where DARPANET started out in the 1950s as building that coordinated, decentralized computer structure that eventually became the internet and was commercialized in 1996, it was all through federal investment. Today, when we look at renewable energy, we have lots of companies that have the technology, DuPont, GE, Evergreen, Exelon. These are companies that are building the energy and are building the technology to do this, but they simply don't have enough investment from the government. And China is not stealing jobs through cheap labor. China is helping to develop this industry through investment, and it becomes very attractive for these companies. So the key to our future in renewable technology and sustainability is clearly based in the issue of investment. What we need is not just tax credits to be set aside, but we need leadership from the federal government to really help companies underwrite their business development. So if you look at how business development occurs, it always occurs through some combination of tax breaks and tax credits, but also investment in guaranteed federal loans and the like. And so if the government really wants to build this sector, we've got to step up and make those investments.